Last time I covered the trailers that move the majority of freight in the world, the dry van, the reefer, the flatbed, the tanker. If you haven't seen that video, the link is above. But the comments told me something. You wanted the trailers that live at the edges, the ones built for extreme loads, extreme terrain, extreme dimensions, the ones most drivers will never operate and most people will never see up close. You also caught a few things I missed. The log haulers came for me. The dump trailer community came for me. Someone from South Africa mentioned side tippers. Someone from a repair shop described a trailer I hadn't included and should have. One more thing before we start. Every measurement in this video comes in both imperial and metric, with a real-world comparison that works wherever you are watching from. So this is part 2. We're going further out. The logging trailer. The log truck is one of the oldest specialized hauling configurations in existence, and it works on a principle so simple it looks almost improvised. Two separate trailer sections, a front bolster and a rear dolly, connected not by a rigid frame, but by the logs themselves. The logs are the structural member. They span the gap between front and rear, and the entire load rides as a single unit because the timber holds it together. The front section attaches to the tractor. The rear section, called a pup or a jeep depending on the region, trails behind on its own axles. Bunks, the curved steel cradles that hold the logs, sit on both sections, and the logs are chained and staked down to prevent any rolling or shifting. The reason for this design is length flexibility. Logs do not come in standard dimensions. A load of 40 feet, 12 meters, about the length of a school bus in North America or a city transit bus in Europe, configures the rear dolly at one position. A load of 60 feet, 18 meters, roughly the width of a soccer penalty area or the height of a 5-story building lying on its side, pushes the rear dolly back further. The same equipment handles both because the trailer length adjusts to the cargo, not the other way around. Log hauling is one of the most demanding freight disciplines in terms of terrain. These trucks do not run from warehouse to warehouse on interstates. They run forest roads, unpaved, steep, narrow, and unforgiving. Weight distribution on a loaded log truck is a skill developed over years. The consequences of getting it wrong are not abstract. The end dump. The end dump trailer is exactly what the name says. A large enclosed body, typically 20 to 26 feet long, 6 to 8 meters, roughly the length of a full-size pickup truck in the US, or a large estate car with a bicycle attached in Europe, hinged at the rear. A hydraulic cylinder mounted at the front of the trailer pushes the entire body upward from the front, tilting it to a steep angle, and the load falls out the back. These trailers typically carry between 20 and 26 tons, up to about 57,000 pounds, roughly the weight of 4 African elephants in the US or 3 fully loaded double-decker buses in Europe. Construction sites, quarries, demolition operations, road building, wherever bulk material needs to move and then be deposited in a pile at a specific location, end dumps are working. Sand, gravel, crushed rock, demolition debris, dirt, asphalt millings. The end dump handles anything that flows or tumbles when the body goes vertical. The physics of the tip-off are important. A loaded end dump raising its body shifts the center of gravity dramatically upward and rearward. On uneven or soft ground, that shift can become a tipping hazard. Experienced operators read the surface before raising the body. An end dump rolled over on a job site is a serious incident, and the cause is almost always soft or unlevel ground combined with a raised body. End dump trailers move fast. They load fast, they dump fast, they cycle back for another load. On an active highway construction project, you will see them running in continuous rotation, each one timing its arrival to the load site and its departure to the dump location to keep material flowing without gaps. The side dump. The end dump has a competitor for many applications, and the competition is not close for certain jobs. The side dump trailer tilts its body laterally, rather than rearward, dumping the load out the side into a windrow, a long line of material running parallel to the direction of travel. That difference matters enormously in road construction. Building a road base requires material laid in a continuous line that can then be spread and graded. A side dump can deposit material in that line while moving slowly forward, creating an even distribution across a long section. An end dump deposits a pile. A side dump deposits a row. Side dumps also have a stability advantage over end dumps on soft ground because the tipping motion is lateral and lower, keeping the center of gravity closer to the axles during discharge. The trade-off is that side access requires clearance. You cannot side dump against a wall or barrier, but on open construction sites, the side dump is often the faster, safer option. The commenter from South Africa who mentioned side tippers, that is this trailer, called by a different name in different parts of the world, doing the same job on every continent where roads get built. The belly dump. The belly dump solves a different problem. Also called a bottom dump, it carries its load in a hopper-shaped body and discharges it through clamshell gates on the underside of the trailer, rather than by tilting the entire body. A typical belly dump trailer runs about 30 to 35 feet long, 9 to 10.5 meters, roughly the length of a telephone pole in the US, or 2 family cars parked nose to tail in Europe. The advantage is speed and precision of placement. A belly dump can open its gates while moving slowly forward and deposit a continuous, even row of material directly underneath the trailer. The material falls through the gates and lands in a perfectly positioned strip. For aggregate base work, for paving operations that need material laid directly in front of a compactor, the belly dump is the precision instrument the end dump cannot be. Belly dumps also maintain a lower center of gravity during discharge because nothing tilts. The load simply falls out the bottom That makes them more stable on soft surfaces and usable in conditions where an end dump would require more caution. The configuration most commonly seen is a semi-tractor pulling a belly dump trailer, often in combination with a second belly dump trailer connected behind, a double belly dump. One tractor, two trailers, continuous discharge across a long run. Road builders know the efficiency this creates. The transfer trailer. This one came from a commenter who spent a career hauling in exactly the conditions where transfer trailers operate, and the description was accurate. Transfers are the solution to a specific logistical problem in high-volume earthmoving. Here's the problem. Scrapers and excavators at a job site produce material continuously. The haul trucks that take that material to a dump site operate on their own cycle: load, haul, dump, return. When the production rate at the dig site is higher than the haul cycle can absorb, you get a queue. Equipment sits idle waiting for trucks. That idle time is money. The transfer trailer system puts a live bottom trailer, a trailer with a moving conveyor floor, at the dig site as a surge buffer. The excavator or scraper loads the transfer trailer continuously. When a haul truck arrives, the live bottom conveyor transfers the accumulated material from the transfer trailer into the truck in seconds. The haul truck never waits. The excavator never stops. The transfer trailer is the buffer that synchronizes two different work rates. A loaded transfer trailer holds 25 to 30 tons, around 55,000 to 66,000 pounds, roughly the weight of 5 adult hippos in the US, or 4 empty Airbus A320 aircraft in Europe. It is not glamorous. It is not visually striking on the highway. But on a large earth-moving job, a well-run transfer system can dramatically increase the tons moved per hour, and that is the number that matters. The doubles and triples. Standard freight runs on a single 53-foot trailer, 16 meters, just over half the length of an NBA basketball court in the US, or about the height of a 5-story apartment building lying on its side in Europe. But the western United States and Canada operate under different regulations that allow configurations most drivers elsewhere never encounter. Doubles link two 28-foot trailers, each 8.5 meters, behind a single tractor using a converter dolly between them. The total combination runs roughly 65 feet, about 20 meters, nearly the height of the Statue of Liberty from base to torch lying flat in the US, or the length of two double-decker buses parked bumper to bumper in Europe. LTL carriers use doubles extensively because the shorter trailers can be separated at a distribution hub and swapped onto different tractors headed to different destinations. Triples add a third 28-foot trailer. The combination stretches over 100 feet, more than 30 meters, the full width of an American football field, from sideline to sideline in the US, or almost the full width of a soccer pitch from touchline to touchline in Europe. Triple trailer operations are permitted in only a handful of Western states and require special endorsements and permits. The handling characteristics of a 30-meter combination navigating mountain grades and high crosswinds are significantly different from a standard 16-meter setup. Drivers who operate triples regularly treat the difference with the respect it deserves. The roll-off trailer. The roll-off trailer does not carry cargo in the traditional sense. It carries a container, and its defining feature is the ability to load and unload that container without any lifting equipment at the destination. A heavy steel hook mounted on a hydraulic arm at the rear of the truck engages a bar on the front of the container. The hydraulic arm extends, rolling the container backward off the trailer bed and onto the ground at the delivery site. Pickup works in reverse. The arm hooks the container and rolls it back aboard. The entire operation takes minutes and requires nothing at the destination except level ground. Roll-off containers typically run 10 to 22 feet long, 3 to 6.7 meters, and hold between 10 and 40 cubic yards of material, 7.6 to 30.6 cubic meters, roughly the interior volume of 3 two-car garages in the US, or one standard 20-foot shipping container in Europe. Construction dumpsters, demolition containers, waste bins at industrial sites, portable storage on job sites. Roll-off trucks are the backbone of waste and debris management across every industry that generates bulk solid waste. The containers are standardized so any roll-off truck can handle any roll-off container from any supplier, anywhere. The Konosoga. Several commenters pointed out that I described the curtain sider as uncommon in North America, when what I should have said is that North America developed its own version. The Konosoga is that version. Where a European curtain sider uses fabric curtain panels that slide on overhead tracks to open the side of an enclosed trailer, the Conestoga is built around a rolling tarp system fitted over a flatbed. A series of bowed frames, resembling the wagon bows of the original Conestoga wagons, which is where the name comes from, roll forward from the rear of the flatbed on a track, collapsing onto each other like a folding accordion. When fully rolled forward, the entire 48 to 53-foot deck, 14.6 to 16 meters, is exposed for side loading, about the length of a telephone pole in the US, or the width of a 5-story building in Europe, fully open to the air from one end to the other. The practical advantage over an open flatbed is weather protection without sacrificing side access. Steel coils, paper rolls, automotive parts, and manufactured goods that need to stay dry but require side loading. Cargo that would need tarping on a standard flatbed. Ride on a Konosoga with faster loading and unloading and better protection. The Lowboy float. A commenter who works as a transport mechanic described this one with precision. I'm going to build on directly. The Lowboy float, also called an I-beam trailer or a float trailer depending on the region, strips the Lowboy concept down to its bare minimum. Where a standard lowboy has a solid deck sitting about 18 inches, 46 centimeters, off the ground, the float has two parallel steel beams with open space between them, and no continuous floor. The reason is clearance. Tracked machinery, excavators, bulldozers, large crawlers, rides with its tracks spanning the two beams and hanging down between them, sitting lower than on any solid deck trailer because there is no deck thickness adding to the ride height. A machine that rides at 13 feet, 4 meters, on a standard lowboy might ride at 12 feet 3 inches, 3.7 meters, on a float. That 9 inches, 23 centimeters, the height of a brick in the US, or a wine bottle on its side in Europe, can be the difference between a legal move and one requiring special permits, escorts, and utility companies raising power lines along the entire route. That is how tight the margins are. A single brick, a single wine bottle, standing between a legal load and a 3-month permitting process, the Extendable multi-axle platform. Everything discussed so far operates within the range of loads that, with the right trailer, can move on public roads without special permit procedures. The Extendable multi-axle platform is outside that range entirely. These trailers begin as a standard heavy haul platform, typically about 60 feet or 18 meters, and expand by adding axle groups, independent wheeled modules that connect in series beneath the cargo. A basic configuration might carry 100 tons, about 220,000 pounds, roughly the weight of 14 fully loaded school buses in the US, or 65 standard family cars in Europe. Extended configurations with additional modules carry 300, 400, 500 tons, up to 1.1 million pounds, or 450,000 kilograms, close to the weight of 333 African elephants in the US, or a fully loaded Airbus A380 at maximum takeoff weight in Europe. The trailer itself, fully extended, can reach 300 feet, over 90 meters, nearly the full length of an American football field, including both end zones in the US, or almost the full length of a soccer pitch from goal line to goal line in Europe. The steering on these trailers is hydraulically coordinated across all axle groups simultaneously. Every axle steers in precise relationship to every other axle, so the entire combination can negotiate curves that would be impossible if the rear axles tracked independently. At walking speed, with an escort team clearing the route, the loaded combination moves with a precision that is difficult to appreciate until you have seen it in person. These moves do not happen on a standard freight schedule. They're planned in months, executed over days, and documented in detail from start to finish. The engineering behind a single large dimension move involves more logistics coordination than most people encounter in a year of ordinary freight work. Coming to the conclusion, every trailer in this video exists because a specific problem existed first. A load too heavy for a standard deck, a load too tall for a box, material that needs to flow out the bottom, or the side, or the rear, depending on what the destination can receive. The people who operate these trailers, the log haulers running forest roads before sunrise, the end dump drivers cycling through a highway project all day, the pilots threading a 90-meter platform through a small town at 3 in the morning, they understand cargo in a way that is completely invisible to everyone watching from the roadside. A viewer from South Africa mentioned side tippers. A retired log hauler corrected my terminology. A truck mechanic described a trailer variant I had not covered. And everyone who asked for metric measurements, you were right. Freight moves everywhere. The least I can do is speak the same language. If there is a trailer type I still have not covered, and there are more, tell me below. Part 3 exists if you want it.